Commission, please come to order. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening. Also like to welcome Bradley Brown, a new member of our commission. And with that, I'd like to give you the honor to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Very well. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bradley. Let the records reflect the members that are here this evening. I'd like to mention this is a hybrid meeting, and we encourage the public to join in. You can do so by dialing 1-800-309-2350, and the conference number is 237-7193. Thank you. Commission members should have received the minutes of May the 24th, 2021. Is there any correction or additions to those minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise, unanimous. Thank you. Jim, we'll start out with the delegation and action item for tonight. If you would like to start us out here with Mr. Hall.
Sure. Tonight is, I guess, the official presentation of the Meadowbrook Section 7 preliminary plan. This was in your packet last month, but we didn't have it on the agenda officially as we didn't have a chance to post the property in a timely manner before the meeting. So that's why we're doing it this month. It's a pretty straightforward plan. It takes the remaining Meadowbrook parcel, divides it into four rather large lots for the R10,000 district. And basically, water and sewer laterals are going to, well, not really radiate, but run out from a central point across one of the existing lots within the existing drainage and utility easement. So not a whole lot infrastructure-wise to do with this one, mostly just grading and getting the water and sewer to the four lots for the four new homes. With that, I'll turn things over if Mr. Hall wants to kind of jump in and do some additional description of the project, but it should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah, we, Jim, my partner Jim Kohler and I decided to not insert a new cul-de-sac into this property to maximize another lot or two out of it. We wanted to simplify this and bring the project to a close, really. Be honest with you, we have 35 lots under construction in Section 5 that I see you'll have on your agenda later as a report. The construction is going well over there, and folks are waiting in line for those lots. So we're looking forward to that coming online here. Hopefully in August, we'll be able to do some building permits there. Section 7 is the remaining parcel. If you all remember, this was zoned industrial some years ago. And when the Bollinger property, now Meads Crossing, was rezoned to residential, this property was also zoned residential. So that's how we got where we are. And it's the last piece that we have. Bob Ward is under contract to build homes on those lots. They are going to be in excess of a half acre each, which is going to make them premium lots for the entrance to the community, and we think it's going to set us off very nicely. We have met with Jim and with Kevin and Public Works to do preliminary layouts on the utilities and the driveways. And we have, of course, the county's comments that we're going to be addressing. There's some of those drafting and some which I need a decision, Jim, as far as the driveway situation that's been commented on. Did you want me to go into that at this time, Jim, or were you going to bring that up a little bit later?
If you would like to get into that, we can, but that's probably something that'll be worked out at the staff level before
Okay.
and then presented back to the commission once we figure out the details.
Okay, since the public sewer is so shallow in Keenan Street in front of lot 64 in section 1, to get gravity flow at the 1% that Kevin wanted to see as a minimum, we needed to push those houses back up on the hill a little bit and balance that with reasonable driveway grades to try to get gravity flow out there without disturbing a lot of soil. We have to move some dirt, but not a lot. So when the houses got pushed back, when they were back, almost 100 feet, we didn't feel it'd be reasonable for them to back out all the way onto Keenan Street. Therefore, we provided turnarounds on 276, 277, and 278. 279 is in close enough proximity to the street, similar to the other homes in Meadowbrook that could back out of their driveway without any problem. So, Jim will look forward to working with you on the comments from Mr. Beecraft, most of which are just drafting comments. Be happy to answer any questions anybody has, but this is the last hurrah. We're looking to wrap this project up in the next couple of years here until we get houses built. Obviously, it's going to be into 23 and get finished up on this. So it's been a pleasure working with you folks since 1994, believe it or not, when we started. And be happy to answer any questions.
Been a pleasure working with you also, Mr. Hall.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tonight is this presentation, so we're looking at maybe next month possible with approval on preliminary, possible?
All the applicable agency letters are received. We have on your table tonight were a couple approval letters that came in after the packet, or that I got to after the packets went out. So the approvals are starting to trickle in. So if that continues, we could be in a good position for next month.
Jim, do you want to get in touch with me and maybe I could slip up and we can get across the table from each other and run down these outstanding items?
That sounds good. We'll set up a time.
Yeah, your discretion. I'm not going to be available the rest of this week, but anytime next week.
Okay. I'll touch base offline. Yep.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any of the commission members have any questions or comments they want to make at this time? And I gather there's no call-ins. Okay, not hearing anything. Thank you again, Mr. Hall. And we'll
My
see
pleasure.
you. We'll see you next month.
All right. Look forward to it. Thank you. Jim, is there anything I need to stay on board here with? I see you had sections 4B and section 5 and section 6 on your construction phase projects. Is there anything that we need to talk about there, or can I drop off here?
You're welcome to drop off. That's we just have all the ongoing projects always listed just for a little bit of an update, which in this case is just going to be that I don't think we can get lots in people's hands fast enough.
Well, it's a good problem to have for a change. We're looking forward to getting some curb and gutter and some stone down there. I believe the sanitary sewer is about 90% complete. Storm drain's about 90% complete. Public water is in about the same position. We need to move some dirt so that we can finish up the ends of those streets where those large dirt piles are. Hoping to get that started this week. So we're looking forward to wrapping that up and getting curb down and some stone between the streets and get a couple of building permits flying. So thanks again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
All right, next item on the agenda is review of the Board of Appeals case 2021-215-2 Dunkel Court shed variance. Jim, this is what we talked about last month, or?
Well, this is the same property that we talked about last month, and the shed is actually the reason that it was on your agenda last month for the forest conservation plat revision. The shed actually encroaches into the forest conservation easement, and that is holding up a pending building permit for the property owners that they've applied for with the county. So when this came to our attention, we also saw that the shed not only encroached into the forest conservation easement a little bit, but that it was very, very close to the property line, closer than city code allows. So the application for public hearing that's before you, this Board of Appeals case, is basically just setting things right. The shed was installed many years ago, too close to the property line. Because it doesn't comply with the standards, I can't issue a zoning certificate for it after the fact. Typically, if we find out that someone has made an improvement and they didn't pull the appropriate permit, whether it's something like a fence or a shed or something as large as a deck perhaps, generally we just try to make sure the project is in compliance and that we catch up on the paperwork. We don't generally tend to pursue things like that in a punitive manner. We just try to get the paperwork caught up. If it meets the setbacks and things, that's fine. We just need to do the paperwork. In this case, we can't just do the paperwork because the shed's too close to the property line. And the property owners have indicated that they really don't have other options without going into the forest conservation easement that's on the property, or compromising the ability to use the backyard for the building permit they've already applied for at the county for an in-ground swimming pool. So because of that forest conservation easement, they don't have a lot of room to work with for the shed. So this is about just trying to catch up and set things right for the shed. And the Board of Appeals will be hearing this case on the 6th. Yes, sir.
Actually, we're referring to code 20524, right? The 5-foot setback.
Correct. And the section of the code that actually gives the Board of Appeals the authority is also referenced in the application. So this is your opportunity to make a comment or recommendation if you wish for the Board of Appeals. Of course, you're not obligated to.
Here's some comments from Mr. Members.
Almost, after 16 years, it's kind of hard to say that you have to get rid of the shed or move it. And it is just about where they're going to have to put it. Now, I don't see a problem with it myself.
I guess what I'm really looking for then is either a favorable or disfavorable approval, or recommendation, not approval, recommendation.
Well, I'm going to make a favorable recommendation.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I have a quick question, sorry, if you don't mind. Which property is the shed within the 5 feet that it needs?
Number 2.
Is it this one right here? I'm just wondering if it's the back property that it is too close to, or the side property.
Side to
Side
the,
property.
looking at it from the street to the left side.
Comments or call-ins? I'm not hearing any or seeing any. So with that, recommendation to the Board of Appeals is favorable. So all those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
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 Likewise, it carried unanimously. Thank you.
Much. We'll note that and pass that on to the board.
which we covered part of, but you want to pick up on that?
Okay. Well, we do have an announcement this month. The mayor and council confirmed the mayor's nominee for the Director of Planning and Zoning and Code Enforcement Officer. So former council member Darrell Hale will be taking the reins for that role in the beginning of July. So he'll be with us next month for next month's meeting. He hasn't started officially yet. So we're glad to have him on board full-time. Of course, we hate to lose him in his capacity as a council member, but he did have to resign that seat in order to accept the planning and zoning role. But very excited to have somebody filling that spot. It'll be a little while to get him up to speed, but I think he's going to be, very strong in the position. He's got a great knowledge of the city, and that's half the battle. So let's see. Moving on, it's been a while since we talked about our comprehensive plan update. For those of you who have been on the commission for some time, you'll recall that we were chipping away at it a few years ago, kind of going through chapter by chapter, trying to update statistics and demographics and things like that. But that effort kind of came to a stall when I started pulling double duty. I've discussed the update with Mayor Wance, and he's been generally supportive of the idea of outsourcing it, bringing in a consultant to get us through that process. So at the upcoming Municipal League Convention, I expect there will be a number of planning consultants available in the exhibit hall that I can chat with, and we will likely put out I'm not sure if we're going to go with a detailed request for proposal, or we're going to do a request for qualifications where we would just get information about the company and then interview, a couple of companies that looked like they have the experience and the personnel that we would want to work with, and make a selection that way. This is unlike a capital improvement project where you put out a detailed description of the project and then you get bids. This is something where it's more like a professional services contract where we want to find a qualified person and then hear what they have to say about how they could work with us through the process. So we're not sure which direction we're going to go right now, whether it's going to be the detailed RFP, that is request for proposal, or the basic request for qualifications. And so we need to figure that out, but hopefully we're going to be getting the ball rolling on the comprehensive plan update. We are lacking a couple of the state required elements that our 2010 plan did not have. So we do want to get that going. And once Mr. Hale is on board and up to speed, hopefully we'll be able to, without having that day-to-day focus on like zoning certificates and everything for me, I'll be able to focus a little more on getting that rolling.
Up with some means to get the public more involved? It seems like we only get the public afterwards instead of during.
That's another reason for the bringing in I'll use the term expert who's done these before. Certainly we can post things, we have tools at our disposal now that we didn't have 11 years ago. We have, a city Facebook page now. We have Twitter. We have, we had the website before, but that's being viewed much more often than it was 10 or 11 years ago. So we do have more tools at our disposal to get the word out, but I think bringing in someone who has done this before and, has a tried and true outreach method may get a better result than us putting things on Facebook. We had things like the city election on Facebook and the web page and Twitter, and people said that the turnout was low because we didn't know there was an election. So, even with those additional ways of getting the word out, I don't know how successful we'll be with really engaging people. So I think that having some expertise and someone who's done that successfully in the past is probably the way to really get people engaged and get more than the usual handful of people who are typically property owners in the growth area who want to just make sure that their property is designated the way they want, that seems to be the kind of input that we've had in the past. And until we advertise for the public hearing, and then everybody comes out and has all kinds of questions once it's 97% done. So I do think that will be a big part of whoever we bring in, will be to get the public involved.
I'd like to see that happen so we can at least get some people that's interested in the growth of Taneytown in the future.
Yep. Sure. And other than that, just generally, things are, the pace of building permits is still going strong. Doesn't seem to be any slowing down as far as new homes or projects that people are doing for their existing homes. So it's been staying busy on the planning and zoning front. But that's about all I've got for you this month. Sure. Well, the other projects, Mr. Hall gave you a more detailed update on Meadowbrook 6 than I probably would have. So, but Meads Crossing is still charging ahead. Water and sewer infrastructure in both 2A and B is pretty much all done. In 2B, there aren't any road beds down or curb and gutter yet, but in section 2A, there are already homes being occupied. The majority of the paving is done, and the top course has to be done yet in section 2, but they're really coming along very quickly. So we're working with the developer right now on the amount of surety to post now that things are connected to the city systems. FP Duffy, we're still waiting on the preliminary plan to come in, which is the same case for the Storage Today project. Really haven't had any news on the Meads Crossing Community Center at this point. Plans are approved and they've gone to the county for recordation. I don't believe a building permit has been issued yet, though. So we're still waiting for that one for construction to actually begin on the building and the pool. That's, yeah, Taneytown Crossing, under construction phase projects, they have had use and occupancies at the 4, I believe it is, units that face Westview Drive. So the ones, the most uphill portion, I guess, of the project would be the best way for me to describe it. Those 4 farthest from Harney Road have had use and occupancy approvals from the city, and I believe the county has signed off on them as well. So they may be occupied in the very near future. Other than that, Taneytown Crossing still has, there's still some sewer hookups that there has been some discussion with Public Works staff about perhaps a better way to facilitate the hookup than was in the plans, but that's still under discussion. Not really much to update on any of the others, though. So, yep.
Jamie, do you have anything for us? Jamie, you still with us?
I'm with you, but I can't hear you too well. Maybe you can hear me better, I hope. Can you hear me?
Hear you now.
Okay, and I can hear you too, good. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for letting me come virtually. The only issue that concerns you that's pending legally is the Sewell annexation. There are far more technical details that we are working out than we anticipated, but we are working through them, and we always are hopeful that the next month is the month we're going to introduce the annexation agreement. We've had problems with the annexation agreement. We've had problems with the maps. We've had all those little details, but that is still slated to happen. So it is looking like it's going to come off the rails shortly. You might have watched in the last council meeting that there is a potential another annexation. No decisions have been made on that. And I'm sure the city manager can give you background on those, but It's adjacent to the Sewell property. They are far, far behind in the planning stages. And so what we've done administratively is we said we're not going to hold up both as far as annexations. They should be planned as if they both might happen at some point in time, but we're going to let one train go, and we're not going to wait to add cars to it, if that makes sense. So I'm sure the city manager can tell you there are not too many details we know. We can just know that the property owner is interested and has approached the mayor and council.
Would it be possible for maybe next month's meeting that we could have the plot plan for Sewell's and also for the other possible annexing, so we can get a comparison and get an idea on the lay of the land? Because remember, we still got that at Connector Street to go through there. So it'd be nice to be able to see both properties side by side to see, just, I know it's down the road, but it gives us something to think about and maybe some planning.
Yeah, I think we can provide at least the plat. It may not be in final form, but we'll mark it accordingly. And then you need to give some thought about the planning, like you said, Mr. Chairman, because if you do this annexation, the second one, the potential one, that will give you access to 140. And so that really makes a difference about what you're going to do with this connector road. So you need to kind of see it, like you're saying, a bird's eye view. So we'll make that happen.
The second one, is that public information?
It is. It was discussed at the public meeting, but I don't know what we're calling it. Whether it's the property owner that owned it now or the one that's approached us, but Jim can tell you what we're going to call it, I guess.
Okay, I won't go any further.
Well, yeah, I don't think we've nailed down what we're going to call it yet. But the
right.
the current property owner is Wilson Bounds. It's property that you may best know as the former Harner property. Yes. Yeah. So, and it's between the Sewell property and Route 140, basically. So, but we'll have an exhibit for you for next month. And yeah, we have not seen any exhibits or anything on the Bounds property at this point, but they have, council has expressed interest in hearing a presentation about the idea. So that's as far as we are. We don't know if council is supportive beyond hearing the initial pitch, but we'll have something for next month. Yeah.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Done?
Caitlin, do we have audio?
I can't hear you. Cannot hear you. No. No. Is it too late for flashcards?
If you could try and
Caitlin, if you have a cell phone handy, you could call the 800 number if you'd like.
Can you ask her to leave the meeting and rejoin?
Or Caitlin, you could leave and rejoin. And it looks like that might be happening.
Hi.
Hey, we got you.
Okay, good. I was about to call in. Sorry about that. I have quick updates for you. The comprehensive rezoning will be having a virtual public engagement session that will be held at 6 o'clock on June 30th. More information about the comprehensive rezoning can be found at carrollrezoning.org. This is specifically to do with residential text. And that will be with the Planning Commission. we have sent the final submission of the 2021 spring amendment for the 2019 Carroll County Water and Sewer Master Plan update to MDE. And currently, with the Transportation Master Plan, our survey has closed in May. We got 200 responses. And so we're kind of going through there to analyze the responses, as well as we're working with the Department of Public Works and with Development Review to look through all the planned major streets for each community. And we will be reaching out to staff from Taneytown to discuss the planned major streets that are currently in our plan within the next few months to make sure that they are still, what the status is and if they still want to keep everything as is or if we need to make any changes. And that's pretty much where we are with all of our ongoing plans. That's all I have.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much. Moving on to other business. Jim LaFever, you have anything for the commission? Ollie? Brad?
No, sir.
Yes. Okay. Do we have any call-ins? Okay.
No, sir.
All righty. Thank you very much. Looks like our next meeting will be July 26th. Does that sound good for everyone? That's the scheduled one. Okay. Not hearing anything else, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Is there a second? Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks.